please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome to Overdrive. You're watching the show with me, Soini Dutt. Now, ever since the new Audi A8 was unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show as the first production car to fully incorporate a completely autonomous driving technology, we got Q himself. Well, it's time to find out.
It's interesting that Audi decided to choose the Center of Arts and Science here in Valencia to begin our first-hand experience of its flagship, the new A8. Now, it's interesting because the A8 in itself is a very tasteful combination of art and science. But more importantly, it is also the transition point where the autonomous driving technologies finally leave the motor show floors and enter the real world. Science gives the A8 the gift of artificial intelligence, which gives the car its autopilot capabilities for certain scenarios. Data collected by a slew of sensors, cameras and scanners is processed by a powerful computer to enable a total of 40 assistance systems that fit very well into most of our daily driving cycles. Our trip to Spain gave us a taster of some of the most important of these technologies. Ironically, however, we weren't given a chance to sample the traffic jam pilot, which actually gives the A8 an upper hand over all the production cars that have preceded it. The other two autonomous driving systems left us impressed though. We have already experienced a semi-autonomous parking assistant on some cars, and the parking pilot and the remote parking pilot systems on the A8 take this system to a fully autonomous level, easing the driver of any steering or pedal duties. All you need to do is a simple press of a switch called the AI, either on the center console if seated inside or on a smartphone app if standing outside. While the Work in Progress app had some connectivity issues on a few occasions during our test, the parking maneuvers worked magically as intended. Unlike the remote parking system on the new 7 Series, which only lets you move the car forward or backward, Audi's system will let the car steer. Then there is the Garage Pilot, which makes use of an exclusive forward-facing laser scanner that gives the limousine precise dimensions of the available space in a parking garage. The parking app can then be summoned again to pull off the "Look Ma, no driver" trick. Another slow-speed assistant for use in parking spaces helps the A8 autonomously brake or steer clear of obstacles. So the new A8 has a long lineup of engine options. At the bottom are two V6 engines, one powered by petrol, the other powered by diesel. Then you have a V8 petrol, and at the top of the line, a flagship as always, a W12 petrol. Now, I'm not sure if the W12 is going to make its way to India anytime soon, but the V8 could. Both the V6s are certainly coming to India. Now, no matter what engine you choose, each engine will come with some level of hybridization. It is a mild hybrid technology on the engines that I'm sampling today, but compared to a regular or a conventional start-stop system, this mild hybrid has a much wider scope. The 3-litre V6 petrol that we sampled has refinement levels that are as up-to-date as the rest of the technology in the car. And unlike the more vocal V8 or W12 models, this variant doesn't need active noise cancellation inside the cabin. The torquey engine and the lighter body that is now made up of steel, aluminium, carbon and magnesium build up speed quite quickly and gracefully. It's a car that is designed for the autobahn but feels just as natural in the city environment as well. It is mated to an 8-speed ZF transmission that is quick and precise as you would expect in an Audi flagship. It feeds power to the Quattro all-wheel drive system that is standard across the range. Irrespective of what engine you choose, there is a certain degree of hybridization on board. A belt-driven alternator starter provides hybrid assistance and helps the engine reach its optimum operating speed earlier to improve fuel efficiency. It also powers the new 48-volt electrical system, which provides the energy required for all the active components and supports a 12-volt subsystem that powers the conventional electrical systems. The big news about the new 48-volt electrical system though is the new suspension setup. Now, we have had adaptive dampers in the past which can soften or stiffen the suspension depending on the road that you're driving on.
This new system, however, has the capability to literally lift the wheel to a certain degree to glide over a pothole or a bump. And that capability opens up a whole new range of possibilities.
A tiny motor fitted to each wheel via a torsion beam can help lift the car. For starters, it can lift the car to ease up ingress and egress. A forward-facing camera scans the road for bumps and potholes, and the motor can raise the necessary corners of the car to let the body virtually float over the undulation. This system will also negate body roll around bends and during sudden lane changes, and that eliminates the need of conventional anti-roll bars. The system works magically at isolating the cabin of the road imperfections, and since it doesn't use radars in its operation, I would want to see it come to India. What uses radars, scanners and sensors though is an active side impact protection system which can raise the car by up to 3 inches on the side that is about to get T-boned. This lift helps distribute the impact force through the cross members of the chassis and the flooring, thereby reducing damage to the occupants.
So all those technologies and the self-driving capabilities of this car doesn't really mean that you can just go out and fire your chauffeur right now. You will need your chauffeur to look for parking spaces, even though this car can go out and park by itself. All said and done, jokes apart, these technologies may not come to India anytime soon because of all the legislative roadblocks that we have in our country with a technology like this. And then you also have the infrastructural problems that may not let this technology work even if it were allowed. But all that is talk of the distant future. What is worth looking forward to in this car is the kind of kit it offers, is the kind of technology it offers that can actually be used in our country. And then again, this being a limousine is a very comfortable car.
While the science under the hood makes the A8 remarkable from a technical standpoint, the art that defines its form is noteworthy too. Though it has hints of the A5 and the Q7 in its finer details, the A8 gives a new design direction to the future of the Audi sedans, one that will give them a chiseled bodywork and sleeker details. The A8, now taller and longer than the outgoing car, previews new shapes for the headlights and the taillights as well. The latter also makes the rear look futuristic with its seamless LED strip highlighting the width of the car and the OLED ornamentation taking the design a class above the rest. Audi assures that despite their wafer-thin design, these OLEDs have the same life and luminance as the conventional LEDs. The lighting elements have lovely animations on startup and shutdown, while a tasteful use of chrome and metallic body colors give the limousine its sheen. None of it is tacky or bling. The form and the shape of the A8 is unmistakably Audi and yet so distinctive, breaking away from the overemphasis on familial connections that are fast becoming a tradition in the automotive world. Audi's obsession with minimalism gives the cabin an evolutionary design, and the same obsession is now responsible for reducing the switchgear clutter. The dashboard fascia and the center console are now dominated by 3 crisp screens. The digital instrumentation, a 10.1-inch touchscreen infotainment system, and a touchscreen control center stacked underneath it. The touchscreen systems get a haptic feedback, so once you customize the layout of all the control tiles and get used to it, you won't have to get your eyes off the road often to make the right selections. Since the system needs a dab than just a gentle touch, it needs getting used to. Honestly, that's your chauffeur's lookout.
So it doesn't matter who's driving the car itself or your chauffeur, because at the end of the day, most of the people who buy the A8 are going to spend most of the time here in the back seat, and that is where it rivals cars like the S-Class and the 7 Series. Tons of space in here, exquisite materials, and a lot of creature comforts that are out to spoil you.
While open-pore ashwood is now becoming common in this class of cars, I particularly like the feel and the texture of the leather upholstery. Despite having a marginally smaller wheelbase than the S-Class and the 7 Series, there is acres of space in here. A massage, seat ventilation, and a certain degree of recline can be enjoyed in all the 4 seats, but the boss seat can be specced with a foot massager as well. A small tablet, more bespoke and premium in feel than the Samsung unit in the 7 Series, provides controls for the infotainment, seat functions, and the window blinds. Whether you want to take your work to the car or simply call it a day and relax in the lap of luxury, the A8L does it in style and in some ways better than its arch rivals too.
Now it remains to be seen how various markets and authorities react to a car that has such level of artificial intelligence. It's also bound to polarize people who are for or against these kind of technologies. But there's no denying that this is the future. The Audi A8 is a symbol of a new era of automobiles.